What I've come to understand about storytelling is that I need to be able to connect my audience to a story. And how to do that is through defining moments. It doesn't have to be like every detail about my life, it just has to be defining moments. And with all these defining moments in my life, some were ultimately failures, and I would often get discouraged from trying to succeed. Let's move on to the subject of characters. I've developed a lot of characters in my life, but never to the extent where an audience would be able to care about them. By getting an audience to care about my character, I can try to put them in a box and see how they respond to situations or problems. What if this happens? What if this happens? I've also learned that I need to space out my ideas in scenes. I can't just have a bunch of problems and issues in one scene. I need spaced out scenes. I have lots of plans for storytelling and these skills that I'm learning. And I can see myself using these skills with animation. I also plan on revamping all of my existing characters and my stories. Finding what drives them, what's their spark, what really connects them to the world. And by implementing my own personal touch, I could maybe teach them about how I'm learning about trial and error. I also need to be able to have smooth transitions from scene to scene. Unless it's a climactic scene, then I'm going to transition to another part of the story to take your mind off of it. And then when I get back to that scene, I'm going to shock you. For example, I have a character named Ian who tries to deal with death, but he doesn't understand death. So he thinks he can outrun death. He thinks he can beat death. And I relate this problem to the hardships of people in real life. But I have to ask myself these questions. How is he going to deal with this? Will he go crazy? Will he actually beat death? These are questions that will lead me to figuring out the smaller details. And with smaller details also comes the problems that I give my characters to deal with. I know I create all these problems for my characters to deal with, but I don't have enough for the fill-in information. I have enough for the main conflicts, but I need to work on the smaller conflicts. And how I'm going to be able to do that is by using small moments around me, like with people around me. I also plan to use all these skills for my art commissions, because why not get my viewers, soon-to-be customers, engaged in me selling my art? Or that fun word, advertising. I've been writing my own dialogue and stories for a very long time. I do relatively well sticking my dialogue to my characters. However, what I need to work on is how my story fits all together. I definitely already have somewhat of an idea how to plan out qualities of my characters. I just need to work on how to make them important. And by trying to make them important, I might focus on their internal stakes and their external stakes. So the consequences of their actions internally, how they feel about that situation, or do they have regret, or external stakes, which is the consequences on the outside, like what happened around the situation, what are the consequences externally. There are a couple of things new for me to learn about. Okay, there's a bunch. I can tell you I have not done a single thing with voice modulation or filming. However, I'm pretty sure I can learn it. You might be wondering how I got here. What led me here was I've loved drawing since I was a little girl, And I knew from that point on that I wanted to pursue art. And most colleges do have art programs, but none that I've seen like McMurray. McMurray has a graphic design program. And I remember looking at different colleges all around Abilene and becoming immediately disinterested because they didn't have the majors that aligned with what I wanted to do, which was animation. I know I want to excel in everything that I do. And part of that is becoming an animator, one of the best, actually. My dream is to make my own movies, my own animations, and my own comics. I want to do it all. And I know this class is the place to start. I have a feeling this class is going to be the first step in achieving my dreams of becoming an animator. When I came to McMurray, I was introduced to the counselor, and I told the counselor that I wanted to animate, and she said, "Oh, I think you might like this class," and she put me in digital video. And I'm not going to lie, I'm extremely intimidated. However, I also feel like this is the best decision that's to be made. I'm expecting a ton of rough obstacles, but I'm also expecting a ton of successes. So my story started with uncertainty, and I didn't have a lot of money coming up here. I didn't even think I was going to make it, but I made it, and I promised myself that I would make the best of it.